my goodness, it's so very good to be back. I set up this filming area, and it may not look like much, but it took me a significant amount of time. And then I realized that I don't have a way to power my microphone with this setup, so the audio is going to be pretty jank, just so you know. Please bear with me. Oh, hi! You gonna help me do the new series? New series! Okay, goodbye, Peppa. No, please no. Oh my god, you're so cute. I regret doing that. That's gonna come back to... Excuse me, madam. So, welcome to the very first episode of a brand new series! Woo! Yeah! This series is called AffordABDL, or as my daddy likes to call it, AffordABDL. So, the idea for this series of doing ABDL but affordably came to me when I was thinking of my days when I first started getting interested in ABDL, getting really keen about it, looking at buying stuff, and I realized that, oh my goodness. So the idea for this series came to me when I was sort of, I don't know, ruminating on my experiences when I was very first getting into ABDL and just exploring what it was all about. And, well, I was a student at the time, so I didn't have really any disposable income, or not much disposable income, and that made me think about all of the slightly dodgy things you used to do to get your ABDL fix on before you had the money to buy products, or in those dark days when we only had like maybe 3 ABDL brands of nappies and you could only get 1 in Australia. I think we're very lucky lately because we have a lot to choose from, but not everybody has, you know, $40 to spend on a pack of nappies. So I'm going to review things for babies on a budget, and we'll see if we can get our fix on without having to spend all the pennies in our piggy bank. Today's episode is called Supermarket Soak. I came up with that name and I thought, this is super hilarious, this will be funny, and now I'm just uncomfortable saying it. So yeah, we're going to be reviewing different brands of supermarket pull-ups. I bought just an array of them and I spent quite a while trying them out, testing them, seeing how they go. But I think something that's really important to keep in mind is that pull-ups are not nappies, and it's a bit unfair to judge pull-ups and nappies by the same criteria, because there's no way that you're going to go into a pull-up and have a nappy experience. And I think we should be realistic about what we can expect to achieve with supermarket pull-ups versus, say, like, I don't know, a really puffy boutique nappy. Boutique! So it's really easy to say, this one is terrible because it doesn't hold nearly as much as like a Mega Max or something. But it's never going to hold as much as that. They are different products. So we just need to be a little bit realistic about what we can expect out of a pull-up. We're going to go by 5 criteria, okay guys? So we're going to go by fit. How do they fit on the body? Feel. What does the material feel like? How do they feel on? The look. How do they look? Are they pleasing to the eye, or do they look gross? Some of them look gross. I'm not gonna lie to you. For this capacity, we're going to see how much they hold. And the final, number 5, is cost. How much do they cost? Are they really affordable? Are we getting our money's worth by buying certain brands, or could we save a few dollars and buy a cheaper brand? That's what this episode is going to endeavour to figure out. This is the Woolworths Confidere. This is what they look like. I'll give you a little bit of background information about them. They come in, I bought a large, but they come in between sizes 95 centimeters to 120 centimeters. They are not expensive at all. They cost $9 for a packet of 8 of these. They're light brown, as you can see. They look kind of tea stained. It's got the seams up the side, and it's just elastic here with the pad of absorbent stuff down here. They're not overly soft. They're not overly thick, but they have 2 leg gathers. So they've got this internal one, and they've got this external one. I'll be real with you, those leg gathers didn't really do a heck of a lot to prevent me from leaking, and I'll get more into that in a little bit. The fit is fine. They're kind of high-rise. They come just above my belly button, but they're very narrow on the butt. So I put in my notes, these are cut like a G-string. I'm gonna have to bleep that. Beep. Somebody heard me swear. Oh no. The feel is okay. I've definitely been spoilt by nappy brands. These, I need to remind myself to be objective. They're kind of soft. They're not overly soft. Capacity, not ideal. I maybe peed half of once before I felt like I needed to stop, like my G-string would not hold any more fluid. And the cost is probably one of the only criteria that it gets a thumbs up on. Like $9 for a packet of 8 is the cheapest. So this is the absolute, I don't know why I'm like, I'm just gonna put it down, nothing in my hands, nothing to fiddle with. So a couple of pros, they're discreet because they're so thin and because they're so, you know, like, they cut like a G-string, they cut like underwear. So they are discreet, feel like they're good for if you have a craving for something that is padding or adjacent to padding and you don't have anything else in the house. They're good for use as stuffers if you want to get a little bit of extra wear out of another kind of nappy, or you can wear a couple at once. But because of the thin crotch, you're not going to get a lot of wear out of them if you intend to use them for their intended purpose. And the cons are they leak every time I pee in them, which I suppose, like, these might be a good product for you if you like brown nappies and you don't use them to pee in, you just wear them for feeling or aesthetic purposes. So final score, 1 out of 5. They only really met the criteria for cost. They don't really stand up as diapers on their own. Really, they're only good for if you want to wear something that's like a nappy and you're not really in the mood to whittle in them. Moving on, what's our next product? Okay, the always discreet pant. Pant. I liked these so much that I wore the whole packet, and I didn't keep the packet, and I didn't keep one separate so that I could show you what it looks like. But I'll put up a picture here and I'll just tell you a little bit about them. They are between sizes 91 to 137 centimeters. So they fit a pretty broad size range. The price was, I got them for $12 for a pack of 8. I think they may have been on sale. So what do they look like? So they're all white and there's some purple lace and like florally patterns around the waist. There's 3 different patterns. They're all cloth back. First impressions of them were they're scented, so it's kind of like a sweet kind of powdery scent, like a perfume. They were really soft, the material, like a lot softer than the Confidere, and they were a wider cut, and they held like a surprising amount from memory. I would pee in them like at least 2 times before I needed to get up and change. The fit, I thought it was quite good. They felt snug in the right places. I never really got the feeling that I was gonna shift and my pull-up would stay in the position and then I'd move and then the pee would just go everywhere. Never really had that worry when I was wearing the always pants. They felt really nice on as well. They were really, really soft. And I think the scent helped give me a good first impression of the nappy. Because I'm a very scent-driven person, as many of you I'm sure are. And I like the way they look because they're white, they've got little light purpley bits on them. I love lavender. In terms of capacity, quite good. Like I said, I managed to pee twice before I needed to change, and I thought, that's pretty nifty. And the cost, $12 for 8 pull-ups. Yeah, that's pretty fair. So the pros are they are pretty discreet. even though they're a bit thicker, they're a bit puffier than the last one that we tried. They weren't too crinkly, and they had a really wide size range. I found them pretty comfortable. I'm used to the feeling of like a big bulky nappy, but I didn't mind these pull-ups at all. I felt like I had a little bit of protection. When I was wearing the Confidere, it just sort of felt like I was wearing underpants. I kind of forgot that they were absorbent most of the time, and I didn't even attempt to pee in them because they were too thin. These ones, because they had the wider, like, sort of crotch to them, a lot more comfortable to, like, I knew I had a pull-up on, if that makes sense. Cons, risk of leak, but again, that goes with the territory of the pull-ups, especially supermarket brands. But that's really the only con that I could think of. So I gave it a final score of 5 out of 5 because I found myself wanting to wear these more than the other brands. Like, I would reach for this packet to put on one, and then I'd have to stop myself and say, no, you've got to try these Woolworths ones. I think they meet all 5 criteria for a good pull-up. So if you're wanting to try one, this one's a good one to try, I think. Tena, Discreet, Belong. Oh, and another thing. All of the ones that I tried are from the women's range, just because I thought that would be the most efficient thing to test out, what with my, you know, plumbing. This is what it looks like. I'll show them to you. These guys have only got single leg gathers, but there's excess material over here that made it feel a lot more secure than the Confidere did. Tena. Oh god. So, sizes. These guys go from a 75 centimeter waist to a 125 centimeter waist. This is the large size, and I'll just show you how much stretch. There's quite a bit of stretch. A lot more stretch than the other brands had. How much did I pay? These are the most expensive ones. So they were $17 for a packet of 8, which is pretty expensive. And that was on sale. They go up to, I think, $21 is their base price. Because I think everyone goes, oh, Tena, that's the brand. But I thought it would be really interesting to test out this brand, even though it's not that cost effective, just to see if they're worth the hype. And really, no. Their appearance, they're all whites and they've got some pinky sort of swirl patterns on them, flowery sort of things. Oh, it's a dragonfly. I found them to be really, really scratchy. So the seams have this sort of hard, plasticky feel to them. Like, you can tell, you can feel the sides when you're wearing them, or at least I could. I only really noticed it when I first put on the pull-up. They're sort of in the middle of Confidere and Always as far as like width goes to the crotch. So they're relatively low rise. They're similar to the Always. They just hit the navel and leak. So much leak. Holy dooly, so much leak. Pros. They're discreet enough to wear under most any kind of clothes. I did notice more crinkle in these than the other brands. I'm not sure what exactly is causing that, but a lot more crinkly. And there's a good size range, especially if you're on the smaller size. This was the only brand that had a small size. So if you're on the narrower side, maybe try the Tena ones. They're not actually that scratchy. I'm just being a little bit of a baby about it. The seams might not bother you, or the scratchy feeling of the fabric might not bother you. It just bothered me, and I don't think they're worth it, mainly based on the scratchy feeling and the price, because they're so much more expensive than any of the other brands. I gave them a final score of 2 out of 5 for fit and look. They did not pass any of the other criteria. And the final brand. I only ended up doing these because I realized that I'd worn all of my Always. So I did an online grocery order, as we're living in the future. the future, where you press a button on your computer and diapers appear at your front door. But I did another order to try to get more always, and they didn't have any, so they sent me Depend Real Fit instead, which is something I never wanted to have to buy. But since we've got them, why not review them? These guys are weird. I'll show them to you. They are the only ones not to have that sort of waffly fabric up the top. In that case, they are the most like underwear out of all of the ones that I've bought. But they're also very, very narrow. Let's have a look. They are more narrow than the AffordABDL. The fabric up the top is odd. It's very, very stretchy. So they have a very broad size range. Let's just have a squiz at the legs. There's just the one leg gather. So, size ranges. So they go between 71 centimeters and 162 centimeters. These guys have the broadest size range for if you might need an extra large. They're the only brand to offer an extra large. This is a medium. Don't know why they sent me a medium because I ordered a large, but hey. And maybe that's why this happened when I put one on for the very first time. They're $12.80 for a packet of 8, so that's quite cheap, I think. They are usually a lot more expensive, but these guys were on sale, I'm supposing. The top part is very tight knit. It reminds me of the top of stockings. So if you can look at the difference between this guy is the AffordABDL with the waffly, and then there's these ones that are smooth. But yeah, they remind me of stockings. First impressions. So the fit is really, really snug, which gives you the feeling that you're less likely to leak. And they're really, really slim. So these guys are probably the most discreet out of all of them, if that's what you're looking for in a pull-up. The outer is not what I would call soft. It's quite scratchy. But I give them a final score of 3 out of 5 because they met the criteria for fit, capacity, and cost. Because these guys didn't leak, which I was quite impressed by, especially because I'd ripped the whole side. I probably wouldn't purchase them again because, you know, depends in the ABDL community is synonymous with not the best. And I'm also not super keen on the beige colored underpants. I don't really like it. Like, I prefer the Always and I prefer these because just based entirely on look. So what did we learn? I think we learned that the Always are my top favorite because they're good and I would probably buy them again if I was feeling, you know, a little bit more grown up. Too grown up to wear a nappy. I'd probably reach for an Always. I don't know if I would purchase any of the other brands again. I think that the Always, well, it got a 5 out of 5, so of course it wins. Another thing that we need to think about is that these products, the ones that you find in supermarkets, are different to pull-ups that you might find at, say, a mobility aid store or even a chemist, because they're for different audiences. And the audience that a supermarket pull-up is generally for is an audience that focuses on discretion, which I'm not particularly fussed on, honestly. So that's why I kept mentioning, oh, these ones are discreet, these ones are discreet, because I think they all say Tena discreet, ultra absorbent discreet fit. Oh, yep, discreet fit, and I'm pretty sure they always said discreet fit as well. They're obviously focused on being more discreet. Like, you can even get Tena ones or Tena ones that are like the original Tena pull-ups are a lot thicker. They feel more like the traditional like nappy core that you get compared to these ones, which are intended to be discreet. So they're intended to hold a lot less than the other ones. I think, as we've already established, it's not fair to apply the same criteria to a pull-up, especially a supermarket pull-up, as it is to an ABDL nappy brand, or a nappy brand that comes with tapes, even if it's not a specifically ABDL brand. I think we were able to save some money, especially because the one that won was one of the cheaper ones out there, and it's one of the ones that's most frequently on sale. So if you're looking for something that is as close to an ABDL experience with a supermarket pull-up, Always is 100% the winner, but I also think that you should temper your expectations just a little bit. And pull-ups are a good jumping off point because you can use those to extend the absorbency of other things like DIY nappies, which, I don't know, maybe that's going to be an upcoming episode of this series. You can use them as stuffers. You could get out your pens and use them as a canvas, and you could draw a pretty picture on them. You could put one on your best pal, the stuffed animal. This is Arthur. And since the whole point of AffordABDL is to enjoy ABDL without spending $1 million, you could just use your imagination. Read a book about potty training to your stuffed animals. Play dress-ups. Just have fun. You can use them as, I think I've said before, a particularly interesting hat. And because it's winter time, maybe I can pretend that this is a beanie. Thank you if you're still around for watching the very first episode of AffordABDL, or AffordABDL. Oh my goodness, it's a tongue twister. Affordable ABDL. I did it! Yeah! I have lots and lots and lots and lots and lots of things planned. I've got the next chapter of Little Land all ready to go. And I've got other affordable ABDLs, and I've got other Darcy's Diaper Days all planned and ready to be uploaded soon. Thank you for watching, and I hope you all have just an incredible day. Bye, everybody.